Centuries ago, the spice trade was the most important market in the world. It established and destroyed empires, compelled men to explore the far corners of the earth, and led to the discovery of new worlds. At the time, the value of spices even rivaled that of gold. Spice merchants would weave fantastic tales of danger, reaching the spices in hopes of selling their wares at high prices. In later centuries, the demand for spices became so great that those who controlled the spices generated immense wealth and renown. It is at this time that you find yourself leading your caravan across the eastern lands to the Mediterranean Sea in search of wealth and fortune. As a caravan leader, your journey begins on Century's Spice.
Oh, stop! Stop it! I'm not a spice merchant! I'm just taking my plants for a walk! You're not Richard Attenborough! Go away!
So, a little while ago, we played Lords of Hellas, and that game was hellas fun.
You're fired. But after my wife went through the rules again, we realized that we screwed up a number of things.
That's gonna happen. Some games have 20 or 30 page rule books, and you're not gonna get everything right on your first go.
It really makes one appreciate a game like Century Spice Road, whose rules fit on a single double-sided glossy placard.
This is it.
Setup is super simple. Shuffle the point cards and set out 5 of them. Slap down twice as many gold coins as the number of players above the leftmost point card, and do the same for the silver above the second leftmost. Hand out 2 starter cards and a caravan card to each player, and throw any leftover starter cards back in the box. Shuffle all the merchant cards into a deck and draw 6 spicy cards and lay them out next to the spicy deck.
Cards are one thing, but you need the stuff, you know? Put out the 4 bowls and fill them with colored cubes. To help everyone out, it's best if you put them in order. Yellow, and then red, and green, and brown. Just like a traffic light with poop on top. Then, depending on who starts, hand out the starting cubes, and just like that, you're ready to play.
The rules for playing the game are so simple, I'm going to try and explain them all in a single breath. On your turn, you have 4 choices. You can play cards to get cubes, spend cubes to get new cards, pick up all the cards you played so far, or spend the cubes to buy a point card. The ones at the end give you coins. Rounds until one person has 5 or 6 point cards. Whoever has the most points at the end wins.
There's more to it, but really, that's it in a nutshell. But I don't like nutshells. Everyone tries cramming things into them, and they make my gums bleed.
You're supposed to eat the nut inside.
The what now? Let's go over those steps in slightly greater detail. First, you can play a card from your hand. There are 3 kinds: cards that simply generate cubes, cards that allow you to trade cubes for better ones, and upgrade cards which let you improve the cubes you have. You start with just a double yellow cube generator and a double upgrade, but you'll probably want better cards.
For that, you'll want to acquire. You may take the leftmost card in the merchant row for free and keep any cubes that happen to be on it. But if you want one of the ones further down, it's going to cost you, Sonny Jim. You must place a cube of any color on each card to the left of the one you want. Once you've taken your newly bought card into your hand, scoot those patooties down to the left and reveal a new card for sale in the rightmost space.
At some point, you will run out of cards. Sad face. But it's okay. You may simply rest on your turn to pick up all the cards you played and put them back into your hand. You may do this even if your hand still has cards in it.
The final action you can take on your turn is undoubtedly the most crucial. If you have all the needed cubes, you can fill a spice order and claim your point card. And if that point card is one of the leftmost spaces, you'll get an extra tip for your efforts. Just take note, the tippers don't like it if you take too long. So if all the coins are gone, you get bupkis. I didn't ask for bupkis, I ordered the haggis. Zing!
And that's it. Play, acquire, rest, or claim. Pick one, and only one. The game ends when someone reaches the limit of point cards for the number of players, either 5 or 6. And then you add up the points from your point cards, you get points from your coins, gold ones are worth 3, silver ones are worth 1, and the player with the most points wins. And if there's a tie, the player who last took a turn breaks the tie.
Not only is it simple to explain, it's simple to play, quick to set up, and if everyone has already played the game before, even with 5 players, the game doesn't drag. There is minimal interference from other players outside of vying for the same cards, so you can plan your turns in advance, and everybody only gets 1 action per turn, so turns and rounds have a habit of flying by.
Century Spice Road still presents an intriguing puzzle. Like Splendor, you are going to be trying to build an engine that will produce better, more valuable resources than your opponents to claim the best rewards. But unlike Splendor, Spice Road doesn't feel like you have to spend half your mental energy paying attention to what everybody else is doing, since really, you can't do too much about it. You'll want to, since planning ahead can pay dividends. If you think your friend is going to get to that gold coin before you, it might be wise instead to go for the silver, since once they buy that card, that silver card will become the gold card.
I feel that this game is like building a timepiece full of intricate cogs. The cards that you pick up need to mesh with the cards that you have to build the most efficient spice empire possible. Sometimes that means spending cubes to get the most recently revealed cards. And sometimes it means picking up your hand and waiting until the card becomes cheaper, and using your spices differently. But even if someone picks up a card that you're really itching to add, I don't often feel defeated because the variety of merchant cards adds so much opportunity. Sometimes your clock ends up with more gears than you want, but that doesn't mean it won't keep time.
My problem is I keep measuring the gears. I noticed fairly quickly that each merchant card could be boiled down to simple numbers, and in doing so noticed that some cards were just naturally more powerful than others, and there are at least 2 cards in here that I would consider to be overpowered, but CJ would tell you that they only work in conjunction with the right cards. All I know is that I've played this game with a number of different strategies, and leaning on acquiring maximum power cards from the merchant deck is so far the most effective, and that concerns me. I know from experience that using an overpowered strategy can ruin a game for an entire group, and I swear to God I'm not talking about Istanbul.
The artwork doesn't bring anything to the table other than ambience, but I like ambience in my games. And the only disappointing feature of this entire game is that the spice cubes don't actually smell like they're spices. Golden opportunity there, Nazca Games, thrown right out the window.
I actually feel weirdly disconnected when playing this game. It's like the entire theme just goes in the toilet because, I don't know, is there ludonarrative dissonance in board games? I mean, I don't feel like a spice merchant, I feel like a scruffy cube herder. But I don't know. I don't dislike the materials. The bowls aren't my favorite thing ever, especially when trying to grab just 1 or 2 cubes and I wind up pushing them all around, especially up against one side of the bowl. But, I mean, the cards, these are great, as is the rules placard, which is probably my favorite rule book of all time. But this game could have easily fit in a box a quarter this size if they had just gotten rid of the bowls. Well, that's about it. All that's left is the word, and that is...
Piquant.
Ah, yes, having a sharp taste or appetizing flavor.
Also pleasantly stimulating or exciting to the mind. If you enjoy puzzle games like Splendor, you will almost definitely enjoy Century Spice Road. It's like a well-prepared dish, tastes great, and doesn't linger. While it may not be a flawless game, it's certainly the best meal you're going to get out of a stack of cubes and a deck of cards.
You only say that because you haven't tried my card and cube souffle. Overpowered strategy issues aside, Century Spice Road is excellent bang for your buck, especially if you can find it on sale for $25 like I did. But I don't like it any better than Splendor. In fact, given the choice, I think Splendor is a better game. But there's more to this than meets the eye. Century Eastern Wonders can be played solo or Voltroned with Spice Road to create an entirely new game. So there may be mileage in Century Spice Road yet to plumb. Maybe we'll find out one day.
There have been, how should I put it, complaints as to how I'm doing these annotation things. So To my right, you will see videos that you may click on, that you may enjoy because they are similar to what you have viewed today. So go ahead and click on those videos if you would like. Me and my partner, we would like it very much. I hope this wasn't at all creepy. Thank you.